My name is Daniel Nzueto, and I'm excited to welcome you to today's session. If this is your first time attending one of our workshops, let me provide some context on Startout. Startout accelerates the growth of the LGBT community to drive our economic empowerment, building a world where every LGBTQ plus entrepreneur has equal access to lead, succeed, and shape the workforce of the future. I'm excited to introduce our host for today's session, Dr. Moshe Michael Ovadia. Dr. Ovadia, the floor is yours. All righty, the floor is yours, Moshe. You do seem to be muted, though.
Thank you. It's good to be here with everyone. My name is Moshe Ovadia. I'm based in San Francisco, though currently in Sun Valley, Idaho for a founders retreat I'll be co-leading. And I'm really excited to have this group here together to take the opportunity to kind of integrate, distill, and make the most of what we learned in 2024 and think ahead and vision for 2025, of which we have 11 months and change left of. My day-to-day work is in executive coaching with founders and conscious leaders. I work with a number of LGBTQ plus folks. And what I've really learned over time, and the research shows, is that change doesn't happen, transformation doesn't happen, progress doesn't happen unless we reflect, right? And so we're in a culture and a pace, especially in the startup world, where it's go, 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 do, achieve, achieve, race, caffeine, adrenaline, which is part of what we've signed up for on some level. I challenge the idea that actually needs to be our baseline day to day, but it's unavoidable from time to time. But if we aren't actually pausing, reflecting, and learning to inform our next set of action, our next set of choices, it undermines the success of our ventures. It also just undermines the possibility of us actually stepping into the founders and leaders and CEOs that we're meant to be. If there's one thing that's for sure true of like a journey of a founder, of a startup leader, is that you're going to transform and you're going to have to transform and hopefully enjoy the ride, right? Because the skills, the new capacities, the capabilities you're going to be stretched into as your venture evolves are going to take you to new frontiers in yourself. Now, my thesis and my hope there is that you're actually enjoying the ride, enjoying the journey, having it be interesting and pleasant, and rich in growth rather than anxiety provoking and overwhelming and drowning. So I'm going to invite us all to, just as a invitation. I know that folks may not want their cameras on the whole time. I'm going to invite us to turn our cameras on if we can, at least initially, so we can connect as a group. I will be taking you through some guided meditations. You'll be in breakout groups during the guided meditations. You're more than welcome to turn your camera off. There's no need for anyone to see you with your eyes closed like that. I don't mind, but but at least initially, if you can turn your cameras on so we can see each other and get a feel for each other, I would invite that for like the first couple minutes. It also helps me get a feel for the group. And I would invite like real presence. So really think about these 90 minutes as like a real break, kind of sacred time from your day. I know it's for many of us, it's in the middle of our work days, but can we kind of have this be a time where it can be centered and present? Because I can promise you, the more centered and present you are, the more this time together will yield dividends for 2025 and beyond. Okay. This isn't like a half and I'm just going to listen to the speaker talk sort of presentation. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break things apart in a few pieces. First, we're going to spend a little bit of time. I'm going to give you a quick overview of kind of how I think about and will encourage a state of mind going into today's journey and what are the mindsets and ways of thinking about and being in our journey together. I'm then actually going to take you on a bit of a guided meditation back through 2024. And we're going to use that time to really reflect back and let the year speak to us. And we're going to excavate for a couple things. We're going to be looking for, at an individual level, as me, as a leader, and at an organizational cultural level, which is your sphere of influence, what are our celebrations? What are these wins that we achieved? What are these like wonderful things that like I learned about my strengths, my team strengths, or like a milestone I hit that I really want to like high five myself for? And then we're going to also look at some lessons learned. Some like, that didn't work out super well, or that was a challenge, or this part of me that I know was always something I've gotten feedback on prior jobs really has like reared its ugly head 3 or 4 times. And I want to do something about it in 2025. So we're going to I'm going to take you on a bit of a reflective journey. So if you have journals, have those ready. If you want, you could take notes on your laptop, but that's going to be part one. I'm going to then put you in groups to kind of help process and distill some real insights. So I want you to really come out of here with some, maybe not the whole story, like the 20-page or 200-page book of 2024, but a distillation of what unfolded in the past year. From there, we're then going to spend some time projecting forward into 2025 and getting clear on some goals and how to live into that place of being. And we'll do some sharing around that. And to the extent there's time at the end, there'll be a space for sharing and some quick spot coaching if you think you might around some of the goals and aspirations you have in the year and where you might want some support in actualizing them. Okay. Okay, fantastic. And if you have any questions, feel free to just unmute yourself and speak up and make it known. I see there's a lot of great stuff happening in the chat. And let's go from there. By the way, can everyone hear me okay, see me okay? Is quality okay? Yeah, great. Thank you. So the way I think about basically the premise I want to set for how we're going to spend this time together is really see if you can invoke a growth mindset, right? So as we review 2024 and look ahead to 2025, a fixed mindset would say, I was who I was, and I kind of don't even want to look at the hard parts. I don't want to celebrate the good parts because I'm scared to see that, and I'm going to get stuck in those same patterns again, and there's no change possible in me, right? So I really want to invoke a growth mindset to say, hey, let me actually look at 2024 and celebrate the progress I made and the evolution I've made, because I guarantee you each one of you has made some progress in 2024. And that sets you up for the progress you can make in 2025. I also just want to invite into the field, and I'll bring this up again, a mindset of like self-forgiveness and self-compassion that like none of us are perfect, will ever be perfect, and ever achieve like, every checkbox that every founder we've ever heard of um, is expected to achieve, right? And even those stories are all whitewashed and in retrospect. So really just have some compassion and forgiveness for yourself for the challenging spots and really let yourself see the moments of celebration and the moments of growth, however small they might have been, because those become the fuel for really enabling progress and evolution into the year ahead. The other lens I really want to invite is a really simple framework that I use with my coaching clients, inspired by Ken Wilber, and it's be, do, it. So it is like the things we want to achieve, the milestones we want to hit, the goals we want to achieve. I saw in the chat, some folks are really excited about like the it, clear goals, clear outcomes. I'm all in favor of clear goals, clear milestones, and being clear on what targets you're orienting towards. The question is, as we get clear on the it, what do I need to do to get there? What are the behaviors I need to enact? What are the things I need to check? How do I break down the it and the goals? What are the things I need to do? But what are like the behavioral ways I need to show up? And behind the doing is the being, your state of being. And so I really want you to also be thinking about, as we reflect on 2024, who was I being? Was I being, um, was I being frazzled, spun out, anxious, scared? At some points, all of us were. At what moments was I being calm, collected, rational? At what points was I being empathetic? At what points was I being confrontational? At what points was I being conflict avoidant? At what point was I deeply present At what point was I able to access spaces of creativity and ingenuity? And at what points was I being an energy of fear or contraction? And how did that affect what I was actually doing? And how people around me, if you're on a team with co-founders or your management people, what they were, how they were being and what they were doing, and how did that affect the goals, the achievements at the other end of the spectrum? So again, behind between every goal, behind every outcome, is the doing, and behind every doing is the being. And I'm inviting, as we reflect back on 2024, that we also create some space into the being space, because well, as we look ahead to 2025, I'm going to be working with and invoking in our group, not just what do I want to do and what I want to achieve and what do I need to do to get there, but who do I need to be to get there? Okay. Any questions about that? And that's frankly at an individual level, like I as an individual, and then who do we need to be as an enterprise or as an organization, right? The group level if you have a team. Okay. Any questions? Okay, great. So I'm going to invite us into just a little meditative journey. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And if you have a pen and paper, you want to take notes afterwards, you can have it handy in front of you. But right now, we're just going to go backwards and just really trust the journey of reflection. So close your eyes. You can turn off your cameras if you want. You can leave them on if you want. And I want you to just feel your feet on the ground, your bum in the chair. I want you to feel your back strong, upright, and supported. I want you to feel kind of the year of 2024 all behind you with all of its glory and all of its challenges and all of its pleasant moments and all of its disappointments. And I just want to take a few deep breaths together. So you're just going to breathe. I want you to breathe in your resilience. If there's one thing that LGBTQ folks are it's resilient. Breathe in your resilience, breathe in your strength, breathe out your resourcing, and then just breathe out as you're exhaling, breathe out any fears, anxieties, worries, or stressors that maybe anything that first that can keep you from being fully present in this conversation. And then breathe out anything maybe that is lingering from last year that you're like, I'm ready to let go of that. So let's just breathe in together. I'm going to do a few counts. So breathing in for 1, 2, 3, and 4, breathing in that resilience, and then breathing out any stressors or anything that's not related to the room. 2, 3, 4. And just breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in all that resourcing support, 2, 3, 4, and then breathing out any stressors, 2, 3, 4. And one more round together, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and really letting anything out you need to let out, 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. And I want you to just tune in for a second. Tune into your why. We're going to reorient a little bit to our North Star, to our why, before we go in. So by creating my venture, I am here too. What is your why? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why are you part of Start Out? Why are you showing up? What's your why? What's the reason that you're here on earth right here, right now, having committed your life force and energy to creating something, to leading others, to building something new that's never been dreamed up before? And then I want to ask you to just see if you can take that a little deeper. So you just answered, I'm here to. I want you to answer the question, I am really here to. I am really here to. What are you really here to do? What's the why behind the why? Okay. And then from that place, keeping your why in mind, we're going to rewind a little bit and we're going to teleport back 12 months. And it's January 2024. It's a year ago. It's a fresh, exciting new year. You had goals, you had aspirations, you may have had resolutions, you had dreams. You may have had meetings. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're probably cold. You may have been coming back from holiday break. And think about what was going on in January 2024. How are you feeling? What was going on for you at a personal level? And what was happening in your business? And just see if there's a rising for you. Are there any milestones that you hit? Were there any achievements that you hit? Any big goals that you set? What was your state of mind? What was your state of being? And then we're moving on to February. The days have gotten a little bit longer. February 2024, if you can remember, how were you feeling then? What was going on in your personal life, your friendships, your colleagues, your co-founders? Were there any milestones? Were there any breakups, difficult conversations, pivotal moments, investor conversations, important conferences? Who were you being? How did it feel? Were you restless? Were you taking care of yourself? Were you overextended? Was there an icky conflict that you were avoiding? Or were you leaning too much into conflict and supercharged? What superpowers might have you been seeing about yourself during that time? Was imposter syndrome arising, or are you starting to get into a new state of confidence? And then moving on to March to 2024, where were you? Was there any travel? We're hitting the spring equinox, where the long days and the short days are about equal. Were any milestones for your business, in your family life? What might you be proud of? Is there an icky thing that happened that you might not want to, that you might have forgotten about, but is worth examining? Were you in conflict? Were you restful? Were there moments of rest that you found in the midst of everything? What were you learning about yourself? What were you learning about being a leader? How was your business doing? Was the idea even born yet? Moving on to April, similar set of questions. Where were you? Where was your business? May, springtime. What was happening in May 2024? What was happening in your team? How were you feeling? What are you proud of? I bet you can find one moment in May 2024 that you're really proud of. What were you learning about yourself? What were you learning about your industry? June 2024, summertime, vacation planning, new frontiers, new possibilities. Days have gotten longer, longest day of the year. Where were you? What milestones did you achieve or miss? What was the state of your team? How were you moving towards the goals you had set in January? Which of those goals were you actually achieving, but maybe not celebrating? And which of those goals might have dropped off because they weren't important? And which of those goals you're like, gosh, I need to take that on. I'm falling behind. I'm falling behind. Were you overstretched? Were you resting? What were you learning about your own gifts and superpowers in June? July 2024. And we're going to put together with August 24. So July and August together. Summertime. Maybe you're on vacation. A lot of the world's on vacation. If you went on vacation, were able to relax on vacation, what were you thinking about? Who did you spend your time with? Did you enjoy it? You're more than halfway through the year. How have things progressed? Who are you being and how are you doing? How are you actualizing your intentions for the year? What strength of yours might you have seen or witnessed during that time? Was there a tough meeting? Was there an amazing milestone? Was there a breakthrough for you or for your business? September 2024, we're on to the fall. We'll look at September and October together, early fall. How are you feeling? This is only a couple months ago. What was your state of being? What were you doing? How are you spending your time? What have you learned already since January of this year? What have you grown or stretched into? It may be small or seem insignificant, but can you give yourself a win for the fall? I managed to achieve this little thing and I learned this little thing I didn't know how to do. What pattern or behavior are you now watching for since January that's like, oh my gosh, this really needs to be confronted. Maybe it's a behavior in you. Maybe it's a behavior in a colleague. Maybe it's a systemic cultural thing. What are you learning about yourself? What are you learning about your industry? What's it mean to be a queer person during this time, leading up to the election? How is the lead up to the election affecting you? For those in America, who are you being? What's your state of mind? What's your state of presence? What's your state of self-forgiveness and self-compassion? How much rest are you giving yourself? And then we're on to November and December. The election happened, which changed things for some people's industries. It was really recent, right? December was less than a month ago. The holidays came, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever holidays you celebrated. The darkest, longest night of the year, shortest day of the year. Take a minute now as we're in December to really sum up and synthesize what this year looked like for you. Yeah, especially when we're in this recent moment or recent time. I'm going to ask you actually now when you're ready to start to open your eyes if you haven't opened them and really start writing on a pen and paper and take an effort to really synthesize a couple things. I want you to, because you're going to share these in a minute with each other. I want you to try to capture um, for yourself as an individual, what are a couple personal milestones you achieved? They could be related to being a leader or founder. They could be related to your work life. It could be as simple as, hey, I started this venture while I had my full-time job, and I really want to celebrate that, and I achieved this milestone. What are some strengths of yours that really got leverage that you want to celebrate this year? And then for yourself personally, see if you can articulate two areas where you felt like you got a little bit stuck, two qualities, two ways of being or behaviors, ways of doing that got you stuck, that may have gotten in the way of an outcome, an it that you really were excited about. And then for those of you who have teams, I want you to then take a minute and have a second column and do the same thing. What are some wins or areas of celebration for you as a team? Some things your teams did well, something about your culture that is really working, something about your relationships with your teammates and how you interact with each other that's really working. And then I want you to think about one or two challenging areas or domains where you're getting stuck. Oftentimes, the founder's shadow or challenges could become a part of the culture and the team's challenges. You're also influenced by everyone around you. And oftentimes, these are things we don't even, especially as a team or as a group, we may not name or discuss. Or if we do, we don't know how to actually work through together collectively. So I'm gonna let you just take one more minute to synthesize that. And if anyone needs more time, I invite you to raise your hand. You can also, use a little icon to raise your hand if you need more time. And when you're ready, I would love for folks to put into the chat, and you can turn your cameras on now, or otherwise I'll ask them to turn you on in a minute when you're in breakouts. One thing you want to celebrate. So let's just like have a collective moment of celebrating something that you achieved for yourself and or your organization achieved that you're proud of. That's like a win you can take with you. Quitting your job, amazing. That takes courage. Amazing. Getting a job at an exciting startup and on the leadership team. Come on, keep them coming. All right, getting a client, getting a contract. That's a huge milestone for a venture or an entrepreneur. Building some local community, absolutely. And those relationships can be really meaningful and nourishing personally and really important for your venture. So a marriage, transitioning, huge personal milestones, quitting your job, starting a company. These are like really courageous moves. Client acquisitions. I'm also seeing there's a range of folks at different levels of the entrepreneurial journey. Some may have not fully committed yet. That's totally fine. Just even the insight, I love this. Um, Realizing I can't do alone, I need to get a co-founder, right? And I just had a really potent coaching session with a queer client around that yesterday. Like, okay, it's now time. I can't get this alone, and at least that clarifies your goals for the next year. So this is fantastic. So I just want to personally like celebrate your progress and your wins. And I want you to really like celebrate them for yourselves. Okay. Like, I don't know, like, because this is kind of the growth mindset. This is the stretch. This is the courage. This is a proof to yourself that you can do what you need to do in 2025 because you've achieved something meaningful and uncertain and courageous in 2024. Right. So lots of good client acquisitions, team acquisitions, new roles, quitting jobs, personal milestones, some queer milestones too. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is we're going to put you in breakout groups. And I'm going to put you in groups of three, two or three. And you're going to have 10 minutes, so about 3 minutes each, and then a minute at the end to wrap. I want you to answer, just briefly share, here's my win, and let yourself be celebrated by like two other people on the camera with you. And then I want you to say, here's like 1 to 2 goals I have for myself and my company next year. So based on what I saw last year, based on what happened in 2024, here's like 1 or 2 personal leadership developmental goals I'm working on. And here's 1 or 2 things I'd really love to happen for my company this in 2025. And we're going to say through December 2025. So if I'm looking back from December 2025, like I would love to achieve these goals or milestones. I'd love to personally grow or stretch in this way, show up differently as a leader or achieve this milestone. But like, I really want to encourage you to focus not just on on like, I personally have like gotten this new role, but what have I done to get there? What are the behaviors to get there? And then what's my state of being and state of mind and state of presence? How am I showing up in the world that supports the behaviors that then supports the outcomes I want? And like one in each category, one for your team colleagues and one for you personally as a leader, up to 2. Is that clear to everyone? Yeah? Okay. Would the start out magicians mind putting folks into breakout groups for 10 minutes?
All right, breakout rooms should be open. You should be getting an invite to join.
And cameras on, please.
I guess it's just me.
No, Stefan, we have you in a room. If you go, you should get a note to join room 3 here. I think I can move you in there. Let me see if you got a little pop-up. Might be in your participant tab.
Participant tabs. More.
If not here, I'm going to drop you into another room. One sec.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes.
Cool. All right. And hi, Mei Ling. It looks like you might have gotten.
Hi, yeah, I just relogged in by accident.
Okay. Let me know if you can still see the room that you're.
I was in breakout room 3, but I don't see it anymore.
Let me see. Let me bring you into our main room, and then I think I can move you into breakout 3 again. So you should get an invite to come into the main space now.
I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, okay. Let me assign you back to 3.
Okay.
Cool. Alrighty, so everybody should be in breakout rooms. I moved you to co-host, so if you want to jump into any of the rooms, I think you can hit the tab
Awesome,
and you
thank
can
you.
jump in and out.
I think I'll just let them do what they're doing.
Cool.
Yeah, but I will send them some notifications, just getting them to rotate in and out.
Perfect. Awesome.
All
This is
right.
going well. Folks seem to be engaging with it, so it's
I
nice.
think so. I mean, it's hard without cameras on.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my plan is to kind of take them to the end of 2025, have them feel the experience of being that shift, and then we'll move back to the doing and the milestones and the planning and have them share from
Perfect.
that place.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Has my connection been okay?
Yeah, you froze for a second right when we started.
Okay.
But aside from that, the connection's been good and the sound has been good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm traveling in Idaho, so it's like I ended up tethering just to be more secure.
Just to be secure, it makes sense.
Yeah. How was your break?
It was good. It was good. It was needed and restful. I told my supervisor, I'm like, I'm gonna forget what my laptop looks like. So I put it in a drawer and I was like, I will see you in 2 weeks. If something comes up, please text me.
I love that.
Yeah, I was
Love that.
very clear. I'm like, I don't wanna. So
Yeah.
I tried to disconnect as much as I can.
Yeah. I love that there's a culture that allows for that, right?
We definitely try.
Yeah, I was really tuning into like what themes do I want to prompt or prime in their reflection.
Mhm.
And one I really got was like in meditation this morning, it's like they need like not being frenetic, resting,
Mhm.
taking time to breathe, like just working with so many overstretched founders. We put on ourselves early stage and the system puts this on us as we mature and have more colleagues. Like that felt like really important for them to think about. And I was like, yeah, so the way of being is really important then.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But yeah, no, I think folks are engaging with it. And yeah, the frenetic thing is a big thing. I have a lot of folks that I work with and they like start, they're like, I gotta talk to you about all these things. And I'm like, how are you?
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
are you
Take a
okay?
breath.
I was like, please calm down.
Yeah, totally. And I just want to confirm they'll get my messaging to the group, right?
Yeah, if you go into the breakout, so on the bottom of the screen, you should see where it says breakout rooms, the little squares. And then that might have a little pop-up.
Right. Oh, so it says broadcast.
Yeah, so when you click broadcast, that sends a message. The broadcast, as far as I remember, keep it super short. You can send multiple ones, but it only pops up at the top of the screen, like maybe 5 words for a few seconds.
Okay, good. Good. Switch to the second person. Reminder. Okay, reminder. Someone just arrived. Were they in beforehand?
They were not. I will send them a message to let them know.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. It's just not good use of their time.
Yeah.
Great. We are right on time with my schedule.
Nice.
I'm gonna actually, I think they need to share a little bit of how that was for them before they continue on though. Yeah. And we can put them back in these same breakout groups, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think they can just, when we reopen them, they can go back to it.
Awesome.
And Kayla is coming online in a minute. And I've been chatting with her to let her know what we've been doing. So she's, there we go. Hey, Kayla, you can come on. We're in a breakout room right now. You're muted if you're trying to talk.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can hear you, yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right. So Kayla, I'm going to make you host, which will remove me as co-host. Moshe is co-host right now as well, so that he can message into the breakout rooms. Folks are in breakout rooms currently. And then when we hit the next time, it's just putting them back in the breakout rooms.
Okay. Are they going to get recalled to the main room when the timer's up?
I don't think we set a timer, so Moshe, you just let us know when you want and then bring everybody back.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them in 1 minute, I'm gonna say 1 minute to wrap and say goodbye.
Cool. So Kayla can
And
bring them back in, and then once you're ready, similar how you said, hey, start out, put us back in the breakout rooms, Kayla can do that again.
awesome.
Cool.
And
And
Kayla,
there are
if
groups of 2 and 3, right, in the breakout
yes,
rooms?
2 and 3, and if it gives you the option to put the same people back in the same room, that's the preference.
Okay, great.
Cool. Awesome. All right,
Perfect.
I'm making you host and losing all of my power.
It's a hostile take.
It is. All right, Moshe. Thank you so much for this session. I'm excited to hear about the next steps. Kayla, thanks so much for the help, and I'll chat
Yeah,
with you all
thank you
soon.
for your help. Yeah, chat
All
soon.
right, bye.
Talk soon.
We actually can now close the rooms in just a moment.
Perfect.
Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to take them in a guided and have them share for a bit, do a guided meditation, and then do have them share one more time.
Okay, back into the rooms. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I have it open, so let me know if you want me to. Oh, they have 58 seconds. Perfect.
Yeah, I just closed it. Thank you.
Great. And then I can plan the next one while you're speaking.
Awesome. Yeah, if you can just be the same, that's perfect. If I can tell them that, then it'll stay on. I'll be like, they're accountable to each other.
Perfect.
As you're all popping up, I'm noticing I'm so intensely curious about like your ventures and what you're building in the world and your whys. And you know, I think I just intuit we have such a really interesting group of people who've come together today. So I hope you're getting to know each other and enjoy one another. And we are almost all here. Awesome. I think we're all back. So I want to do for a couple minutes is going to ask everyone to just share in the chat. If you're willing, if it's not too vulnerable, if you're willing, one goal or for yourself and potentially one goal for your organization or one intention that you hold. Awesome. Glad it was productive. So just that we're getting a sense that we're all in this together. So just quickly in the chat, type in one goal you have for yourself that you've shared, maybe you got a little bit of support or coaching on, and one goal that you have for your organization, one thing you really want to work on, one shift. Fundraising. Can we be more specific on like fundraising? So good goal, smart goals are more specific around time, opportunity, and et cetera. And by the way, I'm happy to take like my suggestions. I'm going to keep adding your goals to the chat. And if anyone wants a little bit of quick coaching around this or wants to just share their experience, I'd love to hear like 2 voices before I move on to the next part. So if anyone is ready to unmute. And is willing to share their goal.
I'll share my goal.
Yeah.
I want to be able to like network and put myself and my business out there better and just feel more confident around schmoozing and having people like comprehend what I do.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is the way of being is I want to be more confident.
Yeah, and less shy, more schmoozy. Yeah.
Less shy, less schmoozy. And what's the energy like schmooze can have like a negative connotation. What's like the really positive form of schmooze?
Well, I was saying it in like a good way, but really
Yeah,
just
like
instead of being so professional, just kind of having more natural conversations, authentic connections.
awesome. So I'm out. I'm my natural, authentic self, which is queer folk. It's, by the way, so hard. Many of us through our lives have had to try to be something we're not. So it's a performance, and the gross schmoozy can be a performance. But I'm hearing like I want to be confident in who I am, authentic in who I am, and just but that leads to and also like less fearful or inhibited about putting myself out there. Right there, the shyness is like there could be a fear. So more, and that leads to the doing of I'm networking, I'm putting myself out there, I'm talking about my business, and that leads to the outcome, which is where you started, right? The which is more client work. And then we're going to come back to this at the end, but the way I'd want to keep working with you on this is then like, can you start to set some milestones or goals, like behavioral milestones and some milestones or goals for the next couple of months, so you can start to then hold yourself accountable to that way of being and hold yourself accountable to like a very achievable success is like I went to 3 events this month. Okay.
Right.
So we're gonna spend a little time as a collective there, but that's where I would take things if we were doing unpacking this further. I'd love to hear from one more person. Yeah. Rishikesh, is that right?
Yes. So, yeah, so 2024, I became CXO, responsible for marketing and revenue for a startup. And we have gotten some success with customers, but not a very big win. So for 2025, I'm looking for a big win, like a huge customer that will kind of overshadow everything we did before.
Okay. So you'd love a big win for customer for 2025 for your organization. Who do you need to
Yeah.
be? Who do you need to be and who's your organization need to be to achieve that big win?
Who do I need to be? I need to be more than a marketing person to achieve that, which is the going beyond my comfort zone. But I've already started that process. Yeah, I just need to kind of, I'm good at opening doors, but very weak at kind of keeping, holding their hand and getting them to closure. So that's the skill I need to develop and really get better at.
Awesome. Okay, so you're good at opening doors, but you really need to build the follow-through capability. Do you have a
Yeah.
team or are you alone?
I have a team now, just one person. And yeah, supposed to be good at follow-ups, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. Okay. Well, because it's the other piece that comes to mind for me is like when you're saying I'm really bad at, or like I think about, I'm familiar with zone of genius. Like we want most of our day to be spent doing stuff we're really naturally good at. Like you will really claim the strength of yours, that you have, that you saw that helped you get to where you are in 2025. And so saying, hey, there's this thing I'm really hard for me and not my strength. I often think when I look at an enterprise, like how can I build a team and synchronize better with my team to get the synergies there.
Right.
So I'm wondering what that would look like if you and that new colleague set yourselves up for success towards that milestone. Could you imagine what that would look like?
Yeah, I am. That would be awesome because follow-ups and all that stuff really drains my energy, and I cannot really do much more of what I can do better. And so I'm really looking forward to bringing in the clients, opening the doors, and let him handle the
Yeah.
rest. I mean, of course, not going to be a sudden transition. I'll have to kind of walk through a little bit part of it. But yeah, I can imagine if we're able to do it consistently, we will not only just get one big customer, it will be multiple.
It would be wonderful, right? Yeah. And then is there anything, who do you need to be to collaborate well with this person and hand things over well? What way of being and what doing what's your part to meet him there, to set this up for success personally?
My part would be to communicate well with him, set the clear expectations as to what I will do, what he will do, so there is no things falling off the crack. Make sure that the rest of the company is, tuned to what we are doing and what we are planning to do. and yeah, just set up processes and be open to where things could go wrong, because it's often where things you ignore, things fall through the crack, that things go wrong. So have to be mindful of that. So I'll have to be that person who takes overall ownership of the whole process,
Yeah.
even though my colleague is going to be doing the follow-up portion.
That sounds great. So there's really like stepping into ownership, not just of yourself, but of a team. And like, I am leader, I'm leading this team. And then there's also being really clear around communication and setting cadences and co-creating that with them. Okay, beautiful. By the way, can anyone relate to what Rishikesh and Lindsay shared? Like, have any of you felt like, how do I be authentic? How do I put myself out there? You know, like I love this big client, but feels daunting and it requires me being in a weakness area to get there.
Me
Like,
too.
yeah, go ahead. Do
Me
anyone want
too.
to share?
Me too to both. I can completely relate to Lindsay, especially because, for example, when I am in networking events, I am not good at small talking, and English is my second language, as you all can see. And when I start explaining, for example, what my business is, I kind of I get very nervous, and I tripped over my own words. So I have the impression that usually people get like a little bit impatient, but that's my perception, not necessarily the reality. So so yeah, that's a challenge for me. Huge challenge.
Thank you for sharing that, Nicolas. Great, thank you.
Yes,
And by the way, did anyone feel impatient while Nicolas was speaking right now? No, right?
I feel safe here in this
Yeah,
group.
thank you
So
for
thank
feeling
you.
safe. So there's something about just confidence in the story that you have that you might have around that too, right? So how can you believe in yourself, or once you know the belief, okay, people are impatient, then you can check out or work with that belief, right? And how it affects how you show up, right? And then what you do.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So if we had more time, we could start to workshop some of these beliefs and patterns. Scout, you wanted to say something?
I was just gonna say, like, I'm somehow very good at the networking aspect in my industry, but I'm really bad at following up relationally. And it's something I shared with like my two co-founders recently. People schedule meetings with me maybe like twice a week to ask like, how did I get into the work I do? How could they do it? And they're like, I'd love to stay in touch. And I just say, if you reach out to me, I'll always answer, but I'll never reach out to you. So I'm like very aware of it, but I don't know how to improve on it. And I don't think I'm motivated enough to. So that's just something that like is a quasi goal of mine, but someone else said it on this call of kind of like knowing your limitations and like what you are good at and what you're not good at and how to like
Yeah.
figure out, all right, if there's someone else on my founding team that's better at this, can they be the relationships person?
Great. Well, first of all, how important for you personally and for your venture? First of all, is follow up like a lifelong? I just can't, I struggle with follow up in general. Is that like a big thing you've been working on for you've known for years, or just related to networking?
I think in general, I'm really not skilled at staying in touch with people. I don't like to text. I don't often feel the initiative to call someone up and have a random conversation, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you, and how does that work for you? Like, how is it actually leading to the life you want right now?
I guess I would just say like the depth of the relationships I do have has been beneficial for me, and like my reputation in my industry and esteem goes a long way, whether or not I'm actually putting effort into maintaining those relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing like you don't want to have to do this thing. And by the way, like it'd be really for the strategy hat on, if you had to like maintain and stay in touch with one-on-one with every person you ever networked with, that would really dissipate your energy. So let's just think strategically for your enterprise. What how important are relationships, and which relationships are most important to maintain and cultivate?
Is that hypothetical or do you want me to answer?
You're, I mean, it's your I think you know better than anyone in the Zoom room.
Yeah, the only strategy I actively use is if I have a call with someone and we commit to following up or they express a desire to be followed up with, I essentially put a calendar hold like 6 weeks out to follow up with each person I've already met with. But without the calendar hold, I'm kind of lost.
Okay. Okay, so you have systems or routines to follow up with people. So if I could offer just a piece of advice, sounds like I would get clear on like what type of follow-up and for whom is necessary and important for your business. And then imagine at the end of the year it gets addressed somehow. And then the interim step in the next week or so is figuring out how you can make it work with you and your team and what systems. But I wouldn't feel that I'm hearing you have this big should burden of like, I need to stay in touch with everyone, everything, and text all these strangers and randomly call strangers. And that sounds there are few companies where that actually is what you should be doing, is actually critical to survival. But is a strategic relationship piece I would think through and then visualize it happening at the end of the year and then work with your team to figure out what really needs to happen with by whom. Is that helpful? Awesome. So here's my suggestion, because we have a half hour left. I want to actually spend a little time now looking forward to the start of the year. You have a sense of your goals, your aspirations, who you want to be, what you think you should do and you want to achieve. So we're just going to do another brief guided meditation into the future. Okay, so you can turn off your screens if you want. In some ways, we're like really teleporting ourselves. So I want you to take a minute just to settle again, feel yourself in your chair, feel yourself in your seat, close your eyes if that helps you. And the first thing I want you to do is we just spent some time talking about some things that didn't go well and things you need to do better. You believe you want to do better and differently in the next, at the end of this year. I want to start with just, can you forgive yourself and accept yourself exactly as you are in this moment? And you've all achieved extraordinary things to get here and be part of this community and to do what you're doing. So really, can you just forgive yourself for anything you didn't achieve last year, for these gaps, and just accept yourself exactly as you are? Everything is okay. Everything is perfect just as it is. And we're going to fast forward through it's January, February, March, April, May, June, summer solstice, vacation time, July, August, autumn, September, October, November. It's December 2025. And you've achieved the things you're here to, you've said you want to achieve. You've achieved these shifts in yourself. You've achieved these shifts for your organization. And you've achieved, and you've actually activated your team and your resources and your community and called on whatever support you need to help yourself get there. And I really just want you to start from this place of being. How does it feel to be there? How does it feel to be someone who's learned to delegate to their team, who's found a way to follow up as needed, but without carrying that heavy burden, who's found that way to actually be the authentic world and selves and some joy networking out there in the world? How does it feel to have expanded your client base and been more strategic about your profit margins, right? How does it feel to be in clear communication with those people around you? To be less stress oriented, be more of a risk taker and feel the fruits of what you've achieved. How does it feel to finally launch that venture or launch your venture to the next stage, to have found that co-founder, to have up-leveled the customers you're getting? Can you feel that in your body? And can you feel the confidence and the joy and the celebration that comes from that state of being? Essentially, like you've stepped into the throne of your own life, your own role, your own power, and your own sovereignty for your leadership journey. Because isn't this why we become founders and entrepreneurs and creators in the world? We actually get to have control over our time and our destiny. I want you to feel how that feels for you in your own body. It feels to be sitting here in your chair at the end of December 2025 celebrating, and how it feels to be working with your colleagues and operating from that place day to day. as you're talking to people, as you're in Zoom calls, as you're showing up for clients or doing sales or kind of doing business development or networking, and how it shows even as disappointments come along the way, because you feel that inner resourcing of where you are. It's that way of being it together as a team. And from that way of being, we're going to unravel and rewind a little bit into what you're doing. So what are you actually doing day to day to persist and support this way of being? You have this way of being. How are you doing? What are your habits? What are your routines? How are you interacting a little bit differently with your teammates and like effortlessly so? You know, how are you really invoking a growth mindset to stretch out of your comfort zone to be this leader that you want to be? And then, you know, very pragmatically, what's the it? What are the achievements? What are the milestones? And let them just arise, you know, like we have a lot of working hours between now and the end of the year. So let it just arise. What are the big things, the big it's that need to happen between now and December that can happen from this more resourced place, this evolved version of you? And I want you all to just take, when you're ready, the way I really like to think about planning for the new year is at two levels. One is like a bit of a day-to-day level. Like, how am I showing up day to day? What are my habits? What are my routines? Is there like something you want to put in a post-it self to remind yourself of? Is there an achievement from last year you want to write down? Is there a meditation practice you want to do? Like on a day-to-day level, is there a cadence I want to create with my team on a day-to-day or week-to-week level? Is there like a 1 minute check-in with our teammates and how we're feeling, or like a 1 to 10 scale? How in sync are we with each other, right? Before we kick in. So what are the habits and routines that support this way of being on like a day-to-day or kind of week-to-week basis, right? It mean go to the gym, get exercise, sleep. It mean like send 3 cold emails a week, you know, to prospective clients. It really depends on your goals and what's important to you. And these are things I want you also, and then I want you to then zoom out and look at the year. And I think about is like, are there a couple intuitive like quarterly milestones or check-ins that you could then add to your calendar, like by the end of February or the end of March, end of Q1, I'd love to achieve this, this, and this. End of Q2, I'd love to achieve this and this and this. And end of Q2, I want to actually check in and make sure I've still maintained like that meditation practice that I've committed to for myself, right? And reevaluate it. So then just start to, you know, eventually can be really helpful to like set smart goals and flesh out the year like in more detail. But like, what are the big milestones or turning points that get you to where you want to be at the end of 2025? And just write those down on a piece of paper. And we're going to put you back into the same breakout groups, and we're going to have you share for 2 or 3 minutes each. Just what you learned, what arose in the meditation, how did it feel? Who do you want to be at the end of this cycle? And what are the couple of milestones that are out there? It can be really powerful to say these things aloud because then they become more real and you have some accountability, and hopefully you all stay in touch with each other and can be accountable to one another. So we're going to put you in breakout groups again, and we're going to give you 10 minutes once again. And can we actually, there's a person who's alone. Can we put them in there are 2 people alone. Can we put them together?
Yes, let me move them to both to room 2.
Great, thank you.
Oh, you're the one person unassigned. Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
Great. Everyone's soaking up their last few moments together. It's great. All right, and we're back. How was that for everyone? It's okay? Do you feel like you got how did it feel to kind of share that, be seen and hear others too? Felt good?
Yeah.
I mean, this is an amazing group. I'm a little jealous that you got to hang out with each other in breakout rooms. So we have about 10 minutes left. I just want to use this space for folks who might want to share like some of what they're taking away. And if you want a moment of coaching or two, I'm happy to do that. And others can chime in, give them some peer support. The takeaway I really wanted to bring together, though, here is to get to the actual milestones, we need to think about what we're doing. To get to what we're doing, we need to think about who we're being. And then to support who we're being, we have to commit to some doings, right? And then that will bring us back to the it we want. Okay. So from any of those spaces, I'd be curious to hear kind of what are you taking away? What have you learned that is shaping who you want to be or what and how you want to and what you need to do in 2025, like your real prioritization of success and maybe a milestone or two. Yeah, go ahead, TY.
This is Ty. I won't necessarily share a milestone, but something that we learned in our room. We were talking about going from the comfort zone to the learning zone. So in addition to having these milestones, one of the things that we talked about was breaking down the doing piece so that it's so easy that we don't not do it. So that we're kind of taking these baby steps towards progress and growth and making it consistent or more consistent.
I love that. Can you tell us a little bit more of, yes, I notice that all the times with folks, it's like this big milestone, get the massive client or network my way into whatever is like really overwhelming, but you break it down, break it down, break it down, then it's really achievable. So can you give an example about how you imagine doing that for yourself?
Sure, I can do that. I have to clarify a particular message for a project, and so I have been taking a course that kind of breaks down frameworks to the point where it's been so easy that I've been able to do it every day. And so getting over the idea of like perfectionism to just the doing so that you're iterating something because there's something on the page or something down. So
Yeah, and when you're by doing that breaking down, how are you being? How are you feeling and showing up when the task shows up in your to-do list?
it feels accomplishable.
Yeah,
Is that a word? Yeah, I feel
totally.
like I can accomplish it. Yeah.
So it's less daunted and more like, oh, like calm or I like, ready and able to show up. Yeah, thank you. I'd love, who else would love to like to share? And part of my nod to share is also you're in similar places, so there's a lot of learning from each other. So even if you're like, I don't need to share, I don't need it for myself, it could benefit someone else to share your what you're taking away.
Well, I'll share if nobody else is sharing. I wanted to give other people space to share, but so what I learned from our group meeting was, I've been struggling to make exercise my regular habit, and Joel, sorry, and Sol gave me a good idea that there are a lot of YouTube videos out there that you can choose whichever style you want, make it fun, do it with them. When you see others doing it, kind of reduces the bar, reduces the hesitation. So hopefully that will get me work out regularly.
Awesome. And what's your concrete next step to support you there?
just find some of those videos and schedule a time for myself
Awesome. And
every
can
day.
and can you schedule a time to can you do that after this call to schedule a time to find the videos and
I'll have a meeting after this, but I'll get it done today.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I also like the idea that I think forgot the name, who mentioned to break the task into small pieces so you don't have any excuse. So yes, perhaps I could use that also to be better at my follow-ups, to kind of break it down and just do it. I asked some other mentors and they said, yeah, you have to eat the frog. And I think, that's the frog. You cut it into small pieces, so each piece is easy to gulp down.
Yeah, eat the frog is great. Yeah,
I'll
please.
go. Yeah, thanks so much for this space. It's been awesome. I really have appreciated the emphasis on not only like what we're doing, but the level of who we're being through it is so important to stay centered in that through all of the other details. And yeah, what Ty said about breaking things up into smaller pieces, it's so simple. And I was thinking about how I do that with food prep now, where if just the easiest thing for me in the fridge is like the brown rice and the lentils, then I'm just going to have that if that's what the easiest thing is, and like doing that, setting myself up. I was thinking, we all know food prep. Something else I've thought of is fun prep. So like setting it up to make it easier for myself to have fun, getting my ukulele out, deciding what songs I want to sing before it's time to sit down. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm overwhelmed by everything. Or making plans to go do something with a friend, like that kind of thing. Doing that more with my work planning too, of like thinking of it as work prep. Like, okay, how can I set myself up so the easiest thing for me is just to do the thing that I need to do instead of all of the other stuff, because all of those other distractions will come up. And I have ADHD too, Calvin, so I can totally relate. It's like, how do I like basically like set up my life so the easiest thing for me to do is what I want to be doing? How do I like trick myself into doing that?
I love it. I love
basically
it.
The thing.
So what I'm feeling inspired to do now is, first of all, I included my contact information in the chat. If you email me, I'm going to actually put together a little guide. I'm hearing that like we kind of have the big dreamy way of being stuff, but there's some concrete stuff on how to break down tasks and set clear goals and all that. And I have some materials like I can just could throw together into a little guide. So if you're interested in that, email me. And I also will send along a recorded meditation to help you get back into that state of December 2025 and who you want to be. Feeling into your future self way of being is a way of kind of entraining yourself now to show up that way. And then I will also share some stuff on like some of these concrete things that like build on what Ty, Joelle, and others have shared. So just drop me a line on LinkedIn or email me and I'll pass something along. Yeah.
This was super helpful.
Yeah.
This was super helpful. The whole.
Yeah. You want to share what you're going to work on now? What you're taking away?
I think I'm taking from me a lot of away in regards, for example, I learned about, because I keep hearing like in terms of accountability, break big problems into small pieces, right? How, for example, you can plan your goals but with something concrete, right? Not without being so vague. So to me, it was super helpful. The two meditations were super helpful, and I think I had I made the time to literally write down concrete steps for me as to
Awesome.
what are the next steps and follow-ups.
Awesome. Great. And I would encourage you all to keep doing that. So I will, in the follow-up guide, I'll give you a little more guidance on how to keep, like, it's concrete. Once you have a sense of your big vision for the year, then you can start to break down. And if things start to overwhelm you, you kind of ways of working with your own regulation, self-regulation. The other thing I'm also just noticing, I feel compelled to offer this group, if anyone wants to do like a 30-minute spot coaching session, I'd be happy to gift that to anyone who joined this call, and we can also kind of help you internalize some of these habits. And I'd also just really love to hear your goals, your dreams, and we can kind of help make things a little bit more concrete. So I dropped in that link or just message me. I'm curious if anyone has one habit, like a daily habit that's arisen that they are committing to and love to, we will open to sharing.
Exercising. I do have the habit of exercising every day, 6 to 7:30. Yeah.
You've maintained that for some time now.
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
I'll share really quickly because I know that other folks are having the exercise thing too, but I just started doing for the last few months now. I've just been, after I meditate every morning, I do 10 minutes of YouTube Pilates video, and it's so digestible that it's really hard to skip because it doesn't take up that much time. So 10 minutes, everybody can fit 10 minutes into their day. And if it's on YouTube in your own living room, you don't have to worry about going to the gym or a Pilates studio or anything. So that's been really helpful.
Love it. I love these hacks. And also there's a lot of joy and play in that, right? Like, it sounds like it's a joyful thing, like the YouTube videos, like the cooking prep can be fun. May everything in your lives be as joyful and easeful, which is possible even for those big, the frogs you need to swallow. There's a way in which it can be approached with joy and with presence. So I want to honor your all's time. My aspiration, my commitment was to start doing these bi-monthly. So stay tuned for something in March. This has been an awesome group. I wish you so much success in your goals and your aspirations, and feel free to stay in touch and email me if you want some resources or if you want to do that, would like some coaching, a complimentary session. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Keep an eye on StartOut's Eventbrite page or newsletter for that March event, like was mentioned. And thank you, everyone, for participating today. And thank you so much, Moshe, for leading. This was so amazing. And we hope to see everyone at the next one.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.